So now to sketch sine and cos graphs when they've moved horizontally and vertically. So you can imagine what a eye-twitchingly a hard task this is. So let's start by reminding ourselves what do we need to do by being able to just practice knowing what's happened translation-wise. So this is moved by pi on 6 to the right. This is moved up by 1. This is a sneaky one. It's been reflected in the x-axis, but it's moved up by 1, and it's moved to the left by pi on 2. This has been moved to the right by 5 pi on 3 and down by 4. Oh, this one is a gross one. All right, let's go and expand this bracket, shall we? So that's negative 6 minus 4 cos 3x minus 5 pi on 3. Well, for a start, it's moved down by negative 6, and it's moved to the right by, and again, that 3 is living on the inside, so that's 5 pi on 9. So we're going to combine all of the sort of strategies that we've used so far. I'll start with the amplitude. So the amplitude here is 2, so that's this 2 here. Starting with the fact that there's an amplitude of 2 there, it's going to oscillate between these points. So it's been moved, everything's moved up by 1. So when we're sketching it, I would highly recommend plotting these out first. So 1, so let's go that 1, let's call that 2, let's call this 3, so I'll call that 2. It's going to be negative 1, negative 2, negative 3. And I'm going to use my little faint ruler just so I know what I need to draw within. So we're going to have there we go. So the graph is going to move up and down between those. My lines are not perfect, but that's fine. The important part is that they should be evenly spaced. The period is 2 pi over 2. So 2 pi over 2. So that's this 2 here. And so that's going to be pi. So that means where each cycle is going to be pi in length. And so it's moved to the left by pi on 3. So what I would do, again, much like in my previous videos, I would just set up the sort of the cycle, as it were. So there's 2, 3, 4. So I know that it has a period of pi. It starts at pi on negative pi on 3. The end point here is going to be pi take away pi on 3. So that's going to be at 2 pi on 3. Each quarter, so we know that the full period is pi. That means each of these little tabs is a pi over 4 away because we're dividing by 4. So negative pi on 3 plus pi on 4 is going to be equal to negative 4 pi on 12 plus 3 pi on 12. So that's negative pi on 12. So that's going to be negative pi on 12 there. Plus another quarter away. So that's negative pi on 12 plus another 3 pi on 12 is going to make that a 2 pi on 12, which would be the same as saying pi over a quarter. Plus another 3 pi on 12 is going to make that 5 pi on 12. And so 8 pi on 12 would definitely be, 2 pi on 3. Great, so we're doing the right thing. So that's what one complete cycle. The pattern starts at negative pi on 3. So negative pi on 3 is the same as negative 2 pi on 6. So, and it's moved up by 1, so that's where the starting one is. Then it goes to a turning point here at negative pi on 12. Well, that's going to be half of this negative pi on 6, so that's going to go here. And then it's going to come back down at the next one along, which is 2 pi on 12, which is pi on 6, like that. And then it's going to go down 1 or down to the negative at 5 pi on 12, which is the same as saying if I divide that by 2, that's 2.5 over 6, so it's going to be about here. And then we've got 2 pi on 3, so that's going to be the same as 4 pi on 6, which is there. Oh, no, it's not. No, I've done that mistake before. It's It's actually going to be up here. There it is. So we can start drawing already. So there we go. And that goes there. That goes here. That goes there. Cool. So then we can keep drawing this pattern. So the pattern is for every one of these is going by pi on 4. So we want to keep this pattern going. So if I was to keep that pattern going to the left, so negative pi on 3, we need to minus another pi on 4. So this will be negative pi on 3 minus a pi on 4. So that's going to be negative 4 pi on 12 minus 3 pi 12. So that's negative 7 pi on 12, or negative 3.5 over 6. So that's going to be over here. And then we can see here, what was the pattern between getting negative 2 pi on 6 and pi on 6? Well, that's a pi over 2. So pi over 2 is the same as saying, pi over 2 is the same as saying 3 pi over 6. So that's going to be over here, negative 5 pi on 6. There it is. So we can keep that pattern going. There it is. What about this other pattern over on the right? So 4 pi on 6, so 8 pi on 12, plus another 3 pi on 12. So make that 11 pi on 12. So it's going to be halfway here. So that goes there. And then 6 pi on 6. So when it's pi, we may as well find the end points whilst we're here. So we're so close to finishing this one off. So we can substitute pi in here. So this is going to be 2 sine 2 pi plus pi on 3 plus 1. 2 sine 2 4 pi on 3 plus 1. 2 sine, and that's going to be the same as 8 pi on 3 plus 1. So this is going to be 2 times root 3 on 2 plus 1. It's going to be root 3 plus 1. So the final point is going to be about here. So it's going to be negative pi root 3 plus 1. I did say root 3 plus 1. Oh, good. Root 3 plus 1. And so similarly, this is pi root 3 plus 1, because they'll be symmetrical. And also, it'll be the x-intercept as well. So 0 root 3 plus 1. Whew! And there is that graph. We can get rid of our little training wheels here and see our lovely graph in all of its glory. So yes, these ones are a bit tricky. I'm going to get you to have a go at this one now, and I'll see if you get to the same answer that I do. I'm going to be moving this in fast forward motion. So pause the video. Why don't you have a go at this, and I'll give the answers very shortly. So my graph's not perfectly to scale. I probably should have adjusted a little bit there. But what I've done there is just what I've done with all of the other versions as well. So the first thing I did was I looked at the amplitude, and then I plussed and minused using the translation. I had an awful translation there of root 3. So that meant that the midpoint would be at root 3, the uppermost point would be at 2 plus root 3, the bottom one would be at negative 2 plus root 3. So I just did a very approximate graph there of those heights, just sort of spaced them out evenly. And then what I did was I knew that, I started by making my little, breaking things up into 4. I knew that I had a period of pi because it was 2 pi divided by 2. Each segment would be a quarter of that. So I started with negative pi on 4. And thank goodness everything has a segment of pi on 4, because negative pi on 4 plus pi on 4 is 0, plus pi on 4, pi on 4, and then I just sort of did my dot to dot accordingly there. And I confirmed on my calculator. So these ones are the hardest possible trigonometry graphs you have to do ever. It will take lots and lots of practice, and these will take you a long time. So just be patient, use pencil, you will erase many, many times, and hopefully everything will be okay.